still an important jungler. I think it's better in jungle than support because support is a quite weak laning phase, and you don't want to do that against JackeyLove and Meiko.
Try to find the setup right now, which I actually like. You just have to find follow-up. You have to find things that go well with this kind of spacing of the ultimate that Croco will be bringing to the table. See if they go for the wombo combo on the other side for top esports. MF been a heavy focus across in terms of getting those big wombo combos off, and that'll be the direction that top esports want to go.
So you want a heavy CC support with that. If you go towards something like the Alistar, or even something like Xante in top lane as well, you can also use that kind of front line for Misfortune to stand behind, and then also press that bullet time from behind that Maokai ultimate. Creme's going to get himself that Lucian, very, very powerful. Shanks goes towards the Yone, that is massively comfort pick for him.
Post 25 minutes is a death sentence against that pick, but it's also just scary in the meantime. I'm going to be looking at the dueling between Shanks and Creme a lot. It is the Ziggs in the end for Hope, though, and look how much spacing ultimates they have. A lot of that AoE damage they can pull off in a big team fight.
So now what you can do is you can flex that Maokai down into the support role if you want for AL, because Ziggs Maokai is a good combination, but you need to survive those early levels. And top esports, don't know if they're going to allow them to do that. Lilia has been probably weirdly the highest priority AP jungler of the last couple of weeks. We moved from this flowchart of Karthus was the best first one, then we saw Brand, then we saw Zyra. I think nowadays we're going towards the Lilia because one, our players are kind of cluing in how to teamfight with it better, but also you allow yourself that big engage. Great combo here as well as a secondary into the Misfortune. If someone is asleep and they're hit by the bullet time, they do not wake up, which means that they are CC'd into the entirety of that Misfortune ultimate, which is far too much damage. That'll be good team fighting presence already from top esports, but they do need to lock in a front line.
It was interesting, like between the Karthus Brand era, it was like there was like a little bit of Lilia sprinkled in there, but then fell straight through the basement for a lot of it. Now getting a little bit of resurgence, but it also is something of a setup where a lot of CC can be very detrimental, and I think Tian's pathing is going to be super important in his activity as well. It is going to be in the second phase of bans, a big focus on any CC tools available, but also some safety in the top lane as top esports ban away the Camille. It is the Nautilus by anyone's legend on blue side.
Because AL, if they have anything in top lane that can combo up with this big wombo, that's very dangerous. Top esports, top of pros, probably also looking for 369 to go on something like a Xante or something that's just a stable tank frontliner in that top lane. You don't want Arla to get himself a snowbally matchup which can kind of blow out of proportion and then go into the team fights as well. I'd imagine we're getting ourselves some tanks being locked in from top esports one way or the other. I think the Alistar is completely fine down here. Just something that can provide CC, and particularly now you have that counter pick top lane. If you get a good matchup for the Xante, you can have Alistar Xante blocking out a lot of this big initial CC combo from AL.
And also the own CC setup yourself. We saw Feather do some masterful stuff with those multi-engages. Imagine with the bullet time over top of it. Maybe a calling even as well. So top esports setting themselves up for success. A lot of CC to follow up their combos here. We'll see what anyone's Legends choice is going to be. Looks like they're going to need to blind the top laner, and it's going to be Ala's Xante.
Good takeaway from top esports. We were talking about how that could be a valuable last pick for 369, so Ala takes that away instead. So it's not a snowball matchup for top esports, for AL in that top side. Probably leaves last pick for 369 either being something like an Ornn or a Gnar, depending on what his flavor is. Does he want more sideline pressure, or does he want something more kind of frontline-y? Croco can go towards this Brand. You do have a decent amount of magic damage in your team. You're not obligated to go towards it, but Croco gets his Brand, one of the best Brands within the LPL. Last pick, 369. I'm expecting either the Ornn if you want to play towards heavy team fight frontline, or towards that Gnar if you want to be bullying out Ala on the Xante a bit more.
And don't we just love that it's Croco and Kael playing with the heads and the minds of top esports, able to utilize some of that flexibility in this regard too. It is going to be the round out of the Mordekaiser, something that 369 has liked this split, especially when Skarner was a big answer into the meta itself. But here we go, a lot of team fights set up for anyone's legend in top esports.
Yeah, the last bit Mordekaiser, didn't expect that to come through from 369, but it's still something that does well in tank matchups. And if you play with your ultimate right, you can deny a lot of the combo from anyone's legend. If someone steps into your ult range while the combo's coming in, you click on one person, you remove part of that combo, and you then get yourself a window of safety to start racking up your passive and start stacking up stuff like Rift Makers and Leandries. So 369 will have to show his mastery of the champion. He played it. He was the first one to bring it back out again in LPL Spring. He was playing it into LPL Summer. We'll see if his mastery can extend into this game as well. Big wombo combo coming out from anyone's legend as they look to Recover, a lost streak for themselves. On the other side, top Esports, they have themselves a bit of wombo themselves, but playing heavier towards that front line to see if they can give space for that bullet time to shred through anyone's legend.
Now, as you said, anyone's legend, 2 losses in a row, but not only that, it's been to 2 top teams in JDG and Weibo in regards, but top Esports, they have been bringing the heat. 3 2-0s in a row. Here is a chance for anyone's legend to claim back the remainder of their Rumble stage, and I'm looking all at this jungle early, especially between Tian and Croco. But then it's all about the gunslingers as time goes on. JackeyLove and Hope, 2 mainstays in the LPL, fighting each other every step of the way. And we're going to get more of it here in game number 1 as we kick off and we see top Esports take on anyone's legend. You know, they say maybe the fandom is a little one-sided here, I think. But in the end, we still had some cheers for anyone's legend, and rightfully so, as they have had a start of the split that has maybe caught some people by surprise, but looking on paper, maybe some of us not so much.
Yeah, I think for anyone's legend, as soon as I saw Ala and particularly Tabe were added to the roster, Tabe as coach, you could sense something was happening with this roster. They went from being a team that was struggling a lot in spring. People will remember stuff like the ridiculous Baron fights where they have where AL had to bail things out with some hero plays from Shanks and Hope because realistically nothing else is working for them. AL have had a much better summer. They are getting invaded here. Tian on that Lilia can very much go towards strong early invade starts, and it's going to be presence in the enemy jungle immediately, but still, good damage back from Hope means that JackeyLove and Meiko are going to take some chunk on the way back to lane.
I love me some Ziggs gameplay. Oh, the sapling's so annoying as well. As we will end up seeing the bit of invade continue here for Tian as he goes for the red buff as well.
Yeah, so Tian looking to have some bot side pressure. Hope and Kael should be able to get level 2 fairly easily. The chunks they've had have helped. We did say that in the start of the draft, Meiko not the strongest laning support, but getting that kind of level 1 chunk can help you an awful lot. Tian's going to get himself a quick level 3. Don't really think he's going to have an angle towards bot lane. With the wave crashing in and the damage done to the wave already, I think that Hope and Kael will be happy to soak that wave under turret, and they know that now Tian is leaving bot side.
The Croco being able to take a little bit of advantage over this here, but it does look like we'll have a bit of opposite side focuses here. So I do want to focus in on where we can see Croco and Tian go next, and if Tian is looking, as we see, crossing the map to answer.
Well, Tian, I don't think he's necessarily looking to fight in the lanes too heavily. Croco can do because he has himself that Q flash E combo. He might go to a 369. Let's see if he can get it.
Just a zombie waddling forward. 369 trying to get out the stun. Does flash, ends up getting away from it as well. And now 369 stops the early play from AL.
Yeah, really well played from 369 because he holds on to his flash for long enough so he can flash behind a minion, so there's very few ways that Croco could play towards it. Of course, he didn't have that flash as well. Now Tian might find him in his own jungle.
No way. Croco is so unsuspecting. There's just a deer in the bush. He even starts up the Gromp there, but he still has some fight pressure. We have the red buffs ticking away. Croco getting in trouble. You can't let Tian get on top, and that's first blood for the tippy top Esports.
Yeah, Croco didn't have that level 1 from early on, and it didn't have that flash from that early on. And Tian pops out the thumbs down. We've said that Croco can be exposed in the early game, and Tian has done exactly that. Croco shows on top side, Tian follows him into his next kind of logical path, and Tian gets on the board. If Tian is getting off the ground in the early game, you've got to be so afraid here as anyone's legend. That Lily with extra gold is going to be an absolute nightmare. Croco even uses that vision plan, and he thinks he's safe, I think. Pulls that across, and then of course he uses the Q on the Gromp. Brandon, he doesn't have any one of his abilities before level 6. He can't apply that passive. Of course, without the Q, you can't get the stun either. As soon as that Q comes out, he is a dead Brand.
I mean, Tian is just playing 4D chess while Croco's playing 3D. Like, that's incredible. And knowing that he was in his topside jungle, being able to path over there, sneak around all the vision, and then have that play. Tian having a wonderful start, and that'll be represented in his kill and the CS differential. And now they just have presence on the map. You have Dragon coming up in 30 seconds. You have the Grubs coming up in about 1 minute and 30 as well.
And we did say that Tian is someone who he contests you early. It's Tian. He is a very aggressive jungler, one of the best at kind of contesting early in the entire league. And with also the Lucian pushing in the Yone early on, which you expect from this matchup. Yone doesn't always have the best push in early levels. It just means that Tian has an extra degree of safety. You've also got that push in bot lane for JackeyLove and Meiko. Tian has all of the pressure in the world to work around. And also, I mean, yes, Ala and 369 are going to be kind of trading off, I suppose, in their shove at points in this matchup. But as it stands, you know, Tian has all of the pressure he needs to go anywhere. He can go and hopefully, for the side of top Esports, go and contest again.
Creme gonna have priority in mid lane for just a little bit. Shanks is gonna be forced back and TP back to lane. We do have no focus on the dragons still, which honestly has been a trend today, at least so far. But we did end up seeing Meiko on the roam. This is going to be the state of the game, it feels like, for the near future, because both bot laners can be feeling perfectly fine in the 1v1 down.
They're just going to wait there for a decently long time. Both these champions put the impact. The team fights later on, still like the Ezreal Kai'Sa, where there is very much more Bjorn pressure at all times. Shanks is himself level 6, getting a combo down, lose some HP. So level 6 on the top side as well, very important. 369 doesn't have the passive just yet.
Ala holding out the all out there. 369 wants the angle. He does have the shield, but they need to get the damage down. 369 in some trouble. Ala with the Intofus takes the solo bolo.
Ala takes the solo kill, and 369 on this matchup. He picked his last pick, doesn't work out.
Dominoes continue to fall. Big fate sealed. Shanks trying to get away from that, but now we'll go back into the fight. Now Ala flashing forward, going for Meiko. The flash will be returned. It is chaos in front of the grubby pit here. Creme still stepping up. The grubs traded, though, 2 for anyone's legend, as we see 1 going the way of top.
Still, the extra kill going the side of anyone's legend because that solo kill very powerful. JackeyLove comes back into the slow. Level 6 not hit from JackeyLove.
No mana, yeah, and Hope does just hit level 6 as well, so has the Mega Inferno Bomb, just in case JackeyLove wants to overextend.
So, let's talk about the implications of that, because we've got 2 grubs over to AL, which is nice for them. They do have themselves the Yone, which can hit side lane turret fairly well, because he uses that Soul Bound to get towards turrets later on. That's actually quite big for them. But this is huge here, because 369 picked this matchup into the Cassandra. Mordekaiser is good into tankier matchups, but you can't just give up these early kills like this, because you need to get to a certain degree of power. Ala uses the extended E range on the footwork as he goes towards an allied minion, and just gets right the way behind 369 and gets him down into a point where even when he has the full charge of his invincible, just can't get the damage down. And manages to, I believe he traded ult for ult there, so he used the all out to cancel out that rather down.
A lot of damage. Does play very confidently and nicely done. 369, a former, feels like pillar of strength for top Esports, falling short in the start of this series here. See if he continues to be a focus as we move forward. But now we also ended up seeing that dragon go the way of top Esports, so they got their first dragon stacking to a soul. Shanks getting pushed off the wave again and doesn't have TP this time to bail him out.
Can I just say, it is a real pleasure to see Ala be able to shine as well on this roster. He's had a great summer coming through, and when he was added to AL, I was excited. Even though he came from the EDG Doom squad, which found very little success back in the spring, and of course find themselves in dire straits here again in summer. This guy has continued to have pressure, and he might even have another go at 369 here. It's probably a shorter trade this time, but he does have the all out.
Yeah, he does. Getting traded pretty heavily now, though. And 369 built a little bit of AP to help him out in the lane matchup itself, at least. I love that you bring up Ala, though, because he was obviously one of my favorite parts of the LNG Dream Squad. But it has been a while since we've seen him really shine that EDG roster, maybe bring him down in the dumps a little bit. So nice to see him start off here on the Cassandra. We'll see how they utilize that in any regard, though. But we're getting a slow early game by these two teams, setting up for the objective contest along the way.
And I think in some ways, slow early game, that works out well for some members of anyone's legend, because I think that Kael on the Meiko rather, not great in the early game in the laning phase. And also you've got Hope that wants to get online too. But I mean, top Esports, they're not particularly unhappy about getting Lucian in an individual lane like this too. Creme has been bodying Shanks in the early lane, which you highlighted just before this, so that's going to be something good there. Ala doesn't hit the Q3, and that's the Ramadan.
See if he actually is able to take this one. Does have the big shield coming, needs to use it to tank that tower shot. He did have the collapse from Tian. He does have a little team lullaby here, but not going to pull that one off. And that's the next thing I think that we need to talk about in terms of setup. We have another grub coming up in about a minute. Ultis are available everywhere. Brand loves those tight-knit situations where you can get a big pyroclasm off.
So that means that to control of the terrain matters an awful lot. Of course, you could argue that Lilia loves those choke points too, because getting those small seeds and get the chance to get multiple people in there. And Alistair, we've seen how valuable Alistair can be in those moments. There are definitely ways that the terrain will impact both teams. So it turns out geography, quite an important subject here on Summoner's Rift, because if you are now on blue side and you're taking grubs, you get multiple ways to split apart and safely retreat. You can't really do that on red side of grubs, because if you just look at the minimap and you see, okay, there's that one corridor which leads in towards the Raptor Spit, and there's the Tri-Brush. That's only really the ways you can get out of river safely if the enemy is contesting you in there. Of course, that's flipped around Dragon Pit, so if you're on Dragon Pit, that can change a little more. But I think that terrain often impacts these fights so much, especially when you're talking about so many champions who can attack that shot.
Ala just going at it. Look how much damage he does. He's just going for it. 369 able to fight back now, though. A little bit more dicey for Ala.
See, the Mordekaiser are pretty good at turning down some damage. Harder to take down than Ala maybe expected there. Now with the grubs spawning and Ala not having that ultimate, that's going to be him having very limited impact on this top side of the map. AL, I think with that top lane matchup going better towards 369 in that trade and him getting the wave in, it means that AL can't really contest with that one. Instead, AL will look towards the bot side instead. Maybe they can get Ziggs onto that bot side turret. Maybe they can get themselves a Dragon Star. When they comes up in a minute.
Yeah.
Problem is, then it's Top being able to respond in kind there and say, okay, well, we go towards those grubs, you can go towards that dragon, but we'll be there to contest you in time. It's not quick enough. It's not coming up quick enough.
And that's the point I want to bring up, is we were right on the money there. Top Esports have contested every single neutral objective so far. And that is right as rain. We've seen them play here in the Rumble stage and a little bit before that. Now JackeyLove finally gets go back into his lane as Anyone's Legend was collapsing on that bottom side of the map. They did steal a little bit of Tian's jungle, but at this point, Tian is so far ahead of Croco, it's not going to matter. I mean, he's been taking out so much of the jungle, and this is a premier performance from the man himself. He has the Leandries as well.
Yeah, that Leandry's completion is huge for both of these AP junglers. And, Tian leveraging well off of his lanes, getting into the enemy jungle, farming up the storm himself, and getting ahead of this matchup. When you have carry junglers, farm on carry junglers can be a win condition in itself. Ala has the level up, and no all rest. There's no real threat there. I love that we're highlighting on that one.
He's culling there. Yes, he used the Fate Seal to get out.
Good trade from Creme. I'm not sure if Shanks expected the Blade the Rune King slow there. You don't see the Blade. You don't see Blade as first item evolution that much. We've seen a lot of that Kraken Slayer. Of course, in the past, when you could go towards Kraken Slayer and then Lord Doms or blah, 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 whatever you went towards, Kraken had crit then. I mean, Blade doesn't have crit, so you're not losing out crit by going away from the Kraken. And it's fine to give yourself those extended laning phases where the sustain makes an awful lot of difference. You see that slow is really annoying.
Yeah, they do so. Oh, wow, they actually caught JackeyLove out down here. Kael has made the move. Nature's Grasp may immediately cleanse out of. Tian is here to save him. Hope wants it. He gets him. The double bounce there. JackeyLove falls. Tian gonna end up taking this dragon for it, though, in the end.
Yeah, the world's deadliest water balloon thrown for the hands of the tiny Yordle. Hope gets himself onto the board with that Luden's completion. First item, very important.
Oh,
and now that does open up options here, because Tian has to peel off the dragon.
Meiko going in, double knock up there. Creme stepping aside. Pyroclasm going to come through. Croco flashing away. Now the double knock up. That Fate Sealed is huge, as well as the Q3 at least. Not Fate Sealed, rather. Now Shanks going to be slowed down, sent to sleeping, as Tian making the plays. The burns are killing everybody. Not gonna get Kael, but those 4 feet run real fast. He can't get him at the end. He is one with the trees, but AL are one with the dirt.
AL, they contest really well with Hope getting that kill onto JackeyLove, but they can't stick the landing. Creme, I think, really outplays him in that bot lane river fight, denies a lot of the value from the brand ultimate by spreading from his team, and Top Esports, they get to run it back, and 3 kills now onto Lilia is going to make this Lilia absolutely obnoxious later into the game. Top Esports showcasing that, yes, you might have got an early kill here or there, but you are still against Top Esports, and they are very, very potent in the early game skirmishes when you give them those angles. Go back to this replay. It's going to be the solo kill on JackeyLove. I just don't think he expects Kael over the wall. He cancels the ultimate as he tries to get some good damage around, and then, of course, the last shot from Hope puts him down into the sepia screen. world's deadliest water balloon. There you go. JackeyLove taken down on that one. This fight's really important. Watch how Creme plays this up. Because we've seen so many fights like this where Brand ends up getting a million passes. Look how Meiko and Creme play this.
Yeah.
The Pyroclasm doesn't bounce off between Creme and any other member. His teammates are of course the Brand themselves, which can bounce that ultimate through. When you don't have that Brand passive coming through easily, it opens up extra realms of opportunities. And of course, Croco goes down to the burn after from Tian.
And I'll just say it's been really cool to see duality on this top esports roster. I think Meiko has brought such a nice veteran voice to the team. You see the literal shot calling unfolding, even if we don't hear it happening. Meiko always front and center in a lot of the setup for top esports, and it allows Tian to play the more carry style, to play the more aggressive style we've known him for at the top of top. And I think JackeyLove on the other side providing a lot of late game damage, but it's really nice to see Meiko and Tian combining so consistently this split.
Yeah, I think Tian and Meiko have been such a good jungle support pair. The core of any great team is their jungle support, because that's where your macro comes from, that's where everything else comes from. There are 4 grubs on the side of top esports. You do have the double taps coming through from Lucian once you get those abilities through, but it's not going to be enough to get the first turret, I don't think. Actually, no, with the waves dying on both sides, we'll have to wait another time for the split screen view. Because there's a nice little stale race if that's how it's going down.
I think they have signaled that it will be Creme securing that one first, as 369 did go in bot side. And deny that one for the time being, as we'll see actually in the end it is Creme that gets the first turret there. So really nice standing goal for top esports. They do find themselves up a decent amount even after those early kills going over, and again they've had really good neutral objective control. They've been there every single time to contest each one.
They just like fighting early, and they trust themselves to fight early, and credit to them, they fight really well around that. So, hey, it's working out for them. AL, they've been kind of outvalued in a number of roles now, particularly in jungle. Tian getting ahead of Croco is a huge problem, because I mentioned this at the start of the series before we came into game. If AL are going to contest for top esports, they need to contest in this jungle matchup. Croco has been fantastic for AL when he gets ahead of the early game, when he manages to make those big plays. If he's the one put under pressure, though, we have seen him get exposed. Occasionally, not as often, but he has been exposed at points, and I think that's again kind of just really running into his jungle and showing that Croco is just not safe either from the level 1 or beyond. That is a big problem now for AL.
Oh my god, even that one auto. I mean, you have all the magic resistance though in the regard. I think Creme's going to have a lot of fun in the side lane now, but he's getting collapsed on. Maybe having a little bit too much fun, as Croco will be spotted out by that control ward here. And top esports going to make the play on mid with the Rift Herald.
So that'll be damp. That'll be a nice takeaway. Top esports will be taking away most of the outer ring of turrets. Haven't got that bottom just yet. Right, this as a taxi. I don't think there's a big play coming out. I mean, I say that. Is he going to go into the top side to look for a play?
Oh, we got a play on bot side, though. Oh, my goodness. Shanks with the Blade of the Ruined King completion. I love that both these mid laners have said as soon as they complete the Blade of the Ruined King, we are just fighting anybody we see.
That's Aurelia gameplay right there. Got played, full build. I mean, well, I guess for Aurelia it's Vamp Scepter. But hey, yeah, that Blade spike is so nice. Gives you a ton of dealing. Shanks, sadly for him, is still down. 1,600 gold. I think Creme's early laning phase was very, very destructive. And Shanks, sadly for him, you know, I think earlier into summer was looking like one of the very best top mid laners within the LPL. Creme showcasing that there's still a while to go, yeah, though, Sonny. That he's going to take this match on his own.
I also want to put a little bit more of that Otis on anyone's Legends composition here, because we said it from the draft, you know, Shanks post 25 minutes. That 25-minute mark, that's going to move a little bit. It's really the 3-item spike you want for the Yone in a lot of cases, but it's also in anyone's Legend who need to have a little bit of stability under them if they want to take these teams out. They had all those spacing ultimates, all that AoE damage, but they have to be confident enough and stable enough to pull that off.
And the fact that, you know, that time mark kind of moves in terms of getting those 3 items for that Yone is going to be quite problematic for AL. So seeing that top esports, they're very willing to accelerate this game, and, you know, when we come round to the next Dragon coming up in 30 seconds, that'll be Soul Point very early for top esports. And that objective prior they've had is going to pay dividends. Top esports, considering that this is a team that were not always known for their macro, to say the least. This is the team that were kind of like unga bunga run at you and just try to look for the big fights. The fact that they've now actually managed to level up in terms of their macro, bringing in, of course, Maokai over from UDG, who Meiko used to work with in that World Championship run as well. I think it has really helped Top Esports in the way that they've approached the game, not just to be the skirmish teamfight game with huge individual carry performances. The fact that they also have a better understanding of objectives, a better understanding of side lane and macro as well, has really helped elevate this team to a new era.
I think the grubs change has been really interesting for teams like Top Esports who are willing to fight around constant objectives that are spawning. As we do see that soul point going over, it is going to be traded for an outer in mid for anyone's legend. But look, they have a flank. Meiko's the one they go for first, but you have to watch 369 and the rest of Top Esports. You've been pincer maneuvered, and Tian is singing you sweet lullabies. Meiko finally goes down to Allah, but it's Top Esports who try to pounce on a Shanks. He's going to get slowed down, fate sealed away. They're going to collapse on a Croco now. He's on vision. They do have an angle. Tian so fast. Blast cone. It's not going to be enough just yet. Creme stepped it up and try to get the damage. Shanks wants to turn it. Shanks wants to go, but he gets hammer smacked by 369, and the whole of anyone's legend is out of it.
369 swings the hammer down, obliterates Shanks, and that is on the Baron spawn. You have the AP jungler, you can burn it down with the Leandries. The Top Esports going to call everyone to the play. AL, they have not respected Tian in the early game. Croco has been blown out in the individual jungle matchup, and AL have not been able to contest. Hope has himself a bomb and a dream. It's not going to be close, though.
Not close enough. As the Baron is pick up a JackeyLove. It's fine. It all goes to the same team anyways, and it is Top Esports who are running away with it.
You know, and Arlo tries to get onto JackeyLove, trying to get something onto Meiko. This is an okay part of the team fight for Alex. He takes just a solo bullet time, but then look at this ult from Tian. This ult is absolutely disgusting. 369 gets his own honorable 1v1 as well as the definitely not Obelisk the Tormentor, because exactly what the Egyptian God card can do, cast obliterate onto all of them, and he takes one person out of the fight really easily. Hope cannot influence this fight. This to me feels like I'm coming to help. I'm coming to. I'm not helping. I've not helped. I've died instead. Shanks. It has been a difficult game for him as he now sits at 0-2 and 0 kill participation.
And all the love, all the praise to Tian. I think the whole team, obviously, we've seen really good moments from him, but just the mind games he was playing into Croco early, the early kill, and now being able to utilize that so strongly. He had the early seekers. I mean, this is a man that was emotional after making it to internationals, right? And being able to make it back to the mountaintop. Yes, and also emotional when they lost to BLG in spring finals. But it is a situation where Tian has had a massive resurgence here in summer.
So one of my biggest worries about Top Esports is what happens when Tian is not on form.
Oh my god, Ola they need to be checked on. He might not have ankles anymore. I'm pretty sure Creme just broke both of them as he's dodging his way to Ola's god, and he's going to be sent straight to the medical tent. We got to figure out if he's even going to have limbs anymore as Top Esports are breaking down the doors of anyone's legend in this game one.
Even dodged out on the Ziggs ultimate. This Creme is sweet. Welcome back to the Lactose Tolerance Club, everyone. We love Creme here. Top Esports mid laner has run the laning phase, has run all of the skirmishes he's been in, and this is such a quick game for Top Esports. So they're taking themselves a 22-minute inhib with the Baron, which they claimed just before this. AL, they have barely put their foot in the door.
We just hit the shortest game of the split, so they won't get it so far for Top Esports, at least in the Rumble stage. And now they will have a ton of money to spend. Going to be getting to those 2 item spikes, even maybe close to the 3rd. And they have shown what it means to be just that next level up. Again, this is a team that is on a 3-win streak, and all of those being 2-0.
Yeah, no, Top Esports, they have 2 losses in the columns, but they're against the 2 top teams in the LPL right now in LNG and BLG in terms of the top of the Ascension group. Anyway, it's actually quite hard to tell who the top teams are because of the fluctuating nature of our LPL teams' forms and the individual matchups and how they work out. All the same, Top Esports are definitely counted amongst them, and this team has just gone from strength to strength in their win streak recently. Now, the problem for me is that, you know, this team, fantastic at looking in games like this. I need to see them do this kind of gameplay again when they're under pressure and when they're in those elimination matches. Sometimes, it's not all the time, maybe it's a bit of an overblown narrative. It's just that one game or two, sometimes they lose this sharp edge to do them. Love to see it right now, though, as they continue to hammer down.
They're just going on to Croco there as well, as JackeyLove gonna flash away. Gets fate sealed anyways. Shanks gonna get one back. Kael
Kael by himself now, but Ala and Hope have come down. Top Esports, they've overextended. Creme, I don't think he's got the same move, but the lilting lullaby, it makes the difference, and all of a sudden it turns on his head. Hammer down, as that's Top Esports destroying anyone's legend in game number 1. They have everything they can ask for, and they're on to the Nexus turrets.
There's barely a panda to be seen. Anyone's legend, they are being sent back into the wilds as Top Esports claim this first game.
It didn't even look like anyone's legend was allowed to show up to this one. It was from early machinations of Tian, putting Croco into the ground and never letting him dig himself back out. I think an incredible performance from Top Esports. Creme constantly keeping priority in mid lane early, trading his health bar there. It enables Tian so strongly.
I think that Lucian performance from Creme was absolutely godlike. The way that he danced in and out of those team fights was absolutely said. This is the first time we've seen Top Esports on the new patch 14-14. We're wondering, okay, well, without the Tristana, does that take a hit towards Creme's potential? And yeah, his Tristana was still godlike. It was still banned away in this draft phase, but the Lucian was incredible. Shut down Shanks on the Yone, who has done incredible amounts of damage and montage plays on that champion before. It was just nowhere to be seen. Croco shut out of the game. Shanks shut out of the game as well. This was not really a contest.
And the lethal portion of it was the early moves from Meiko, allowing some of those combinations to just be so despicably dirty. Now, we are done with our first game, even though it was so short. We do have another one coming up soon. We'll take away a little break, and we'll be back with game 2.